So this is an adult bedtime story. If you're interested in being kept informed about future adult bedtime stories, just subscribe below, and if you enjoy this bedtime story, find it helpful, please leave a comment and give it a thumbs up as well. So I hope you enjoy this story. This is a adult bedtime story where you're playing the role of an astronaut. And as you listen to this, so you'll begin to fall asleep. You'll be listening with your eyes closed. And you may fall asleep before the end of this, or you may feel comfortably relaxed and drift off into a comfortable sleep at the end of this. And as you listen to this also has useful, therapeutic messages within this story. And it's not a detailed story. Its purpose is to be a bit like drifting in a dream, where you're playing the lead role, where it's something calming and comfortable that helps you drift comfortably asleep. So with your eyes closed as you listen to me, you can begin to notice yourself as an astronaut. And you're walking along towards a giant rocket. And you've got some astronaut crew with you. And you're walking along towards that giant rocket. And you look down at yourself and you can see the suit that you're wearing. And you're carrying the helmet at the moment. And you can feel the weight of the suit. And perhaps you can be surprised about how the suit isn't as hot as you expected it to be for something so big and heavy. And surprised that you can move so easily in the suit. And you see people taking photos of you and your fellow astronauts as you walk towards the rocket. You can see the clear blue sky above you. Feel the warmth of the sun, smelling the fresh air, hearing the murmuring sounds of the people. Feeling a little bit in awe of the size of that rocket as you get closer to it and realize how small you appear next to it. And as you get close to the rocket, so you and your fellow astronauts enter a lift that takes you up what looks essentially like scaffolding. It takes you up to the height of the entrance to the shuttle on the rocket. And you let some of the other astronauts go first, and then you walk out behind them. You admire the view from being so incredibly high up. And you think to yourself how it's almost like being standing on top of the Eiffel Tower. Having that kind of height over everyone else. And you walk along the platform and you can hear the echoey metallic sound with each step you take. And you enter the shuttle, closing the door behind you. And you can hear the tsk as you close the door. And you can feel the weight of the door as you close the door. And although you can feel that the door's heavy, it feels surprisingly smooth and manoeuvrable and closes with ease. And you get into your seat, putting your helmet on, and then twisting it slightly to lock it in place. And you can notice how you can now hear your breathing from within the helmet, having a slight difference in how the breathing sounds because of breathing into a helmet. And you strap yourself in. And you just think to yourself for a moment how awkward it is getting into the seats and strapping yourself in. When you're having to almost climb into a seat and lift your legs up, almost like sitting in a seat that's lying down on its back. And then you hear Mission Control begin to count down. They let you know that everything's okay, all the checks have been done. We're safe for takeoff. They begin to count down. 10, 9, 8. As they count down, your mind begins to focus. 7, 6, 5, 4, 3. And at 3 you hear a rumbling where the burners are lit. 2, and you hear the rumbling coming from the rockets. 1, 0, and on the count of 0 there's a moment's pause, and then suddenly what feels like an earthquake around you. A rumbling, tumbling earthquake. If there were things that could rattle, you know they would. And you feel like you're lifting, but you don't quite recognize it as lifting. You can't see outside anything other than a bit of blue sky. So you can't notice that you're lifting. And then after a second or two, suddenly you start to feel really heavy, feeling pushed back in your seat. After 5 seconds, you feel like you've tripled in weight. And the rocket continues to accelerate. And it quickly breaks the speed of sound. And all of a sudden there's silence from outside as you're travelling faster than the sound is able to travel from the rockets to your ears. And the acceleration continues, and the sky begins to get darker and darker outside. And you're aware you must be rising up higher and higher in the Earth's atmosphere. And then after about 15 seconds, you begin to notice yourself becoming weightless. Suddenly the shuttle twists and turns, and out the window you see the Earth, like a giant blue marble in space. And you just enjoy in awe the view, gazing down at the Earth as the shuttle begins to circle the Earth. And you unbuckle yourself and notice how you're weightless and everything just floats. Then you explore the shuttle. And this isn't an ordinary shuttle. This is the latest shuttle for a new kind of trip to space. And part of your role in space is to go and do a spacewalk. Then you've got to take a specific satellite out of the shuttle with you, just a small satellite. You've got to unfurl its solar panels, attach a few pieces to it, and do all that far enough away from the shuttle that there's no risk to the shuttle or to the satellite. And so you leave the shuttle on your spacewalk. And you work on sorting out that satellite. And you wonder what the satellite's for. You know it's to help with communication, but you don't know in what context. And it's hard work to work on the satellite, but you enjoy it because you're out in space. And while you're working on the satellite, a part of your mind is wondering about the fact that in space there's no up or down, no left or right, no backwards or forwards. There just is. That's it. And you're aware that to you feel like you're just stationary, sorting out a satellite. You can notice that the Earth is moving beneath you, but you don't feel like you're moving. And yet you're aware that you're actually travelling around the Earth at thousands of miles an hour. And you're aware that you're aging at a different speed to your family back on Earth. And so you start to ponder what reality is. If you can be travelling at thousands of miles an hour and feel like you're stationary, and if you can be aging slower than family on Earth. And once you've sorted the satellite out, you let go of it, having pressed in some codes, and it auto-corrects, gets itself to the correct orbit, and you head back to the shuttle. And then the shuttle has a few days of orbiting the Earth, where you just get to do a few science experiments and relax. You take some photos of the night sky. You take some photos of the Earth. You get a new perspective on things up here. And learn and grow. And after a few days in space, it's time for you to return back to Earth. And so as you buckle back into the shuttle, the trajectory of the shuttle is changed and you begin to make your journey back down into the Earth's atmosphere. And as you journey back down into the Earth's atmosphere, so you journey deeper asleep. And you feel so relaxed journeying down into the Earth's atmosphere. You're aware how well built the shuttle is, how successful the shuttle is landing. Being able to enjoy the journey back down, noticing how the blackness of space starts to change to a blue of the atmosphere, passing through layers of cloud, before heading for a giant runway. And landing on that runway, firing parachutes out the back of your shuttle to decelerate the shuttle. And being welcomed home almost like a hero's welcome. Because although space flight is now more common, it's still not something that everyone does all the time. And you can look forward to your next space flight, to the next time you get called upon to repair a satellite, to take a satellite into space. and you can drift comfortably asleep now.